right now. Listen up.
3, 2, 1.
It's showtime.
That's great.
This is ridiculous.
99.3 The Truth.
You can't handle the truth right now.
Ooh.
That was the stupidest thing I ever heard.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
It's time for Mac's World.
And here we go.
Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Call Mac 244-0077 or text 809-0993.
It's showtime, everybody. Showtime.
Exclusively on 99.3 The Truth.
It's 7 minutes after 3 o'clock on the 17th day of November in the Lord's year 2016. That's Jesus' third millennium, if you're counting. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is a special edition of Mac's World Live. Frank is here, Bob is here, and I have two wonderful special. Oh, and Jebediah is producing. If I don't mention Jebediah, then he and Frank go curl up in the corner in a fetal position and whimper like small babies all day. So I got Frank's name in there, and now I got Jebediah's. All right, my special guests today are Jim Sandagger. Did I get that right? And Jeff Lippman. Jim is a West Des Moines city councilman and mayor pro tem. And Jeff is on the West Des Moines Sister City Commission. And today what we're going to talk about a little bit is the fact that West Des Moines, as a city, is creating a sister city in Jerusalem, which is the area that, as you probably know, I'm getting on a plane 1 month from tomorrow and going over there to broadcast live for the Christmas week. And so I wanted these guys to come in and talk about their project and what they're doing in the sister city with Jerusalem, and also for me to learn a little bit more about Jerusalem in that area. Now, the name of the city you guys are with is who?
It's actually a regional council called Mattias, Jeff.
That is correct.
Regional council.
Right. So think of our county, Polk County. They don't call them counties over there. They call them regional councils.
Okay.
So the municipality is Mattias Regional Council.
Say that for me.
Go ahead.
It's Mate Asher. M-A-T.
No, don't spell. I'm a radio guy. So Monty. Mate.
Asher.
Hold on. Mate Asher.
Yep. So basically, Asher, the Bible, the 12 tribes, this is that region. Asher.
Okay.
As I just said, but it's really Asher's area. It's not the entire area, as outlined in the Bible for Asher.
Yeah.
But Mate means tip of the spear, so tip of Asher.
Tip of Asher.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's a beautiful area.
And where is it?
It's in the northwest Galilee, which is in the upper part of Israel, the northern part of Israel, and the western part right on the Mediterranean.
All right. Now, I'm going to be in Bethlehem. So where am I geographically going to be from Mate Asher?
You'll be south and east.
Okay.
So Bethlehem is actually in the West Bank. And so the West Bank is east of Jerusalem. And so, yeah, that's probably, 3 hours away from Mattias. Mattias is the way northwest. It's bordered to the north with Lebanon. There's actually a fence there, and to the west, the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay. And how many times have you been there, Jim?
Just once. We just both.
I've been there twice.
Been to the city or Jerusalem?
Both.
Okay, so you've been to the Holy Land twice.
Correct.
All right. And what is your faith, if you don't mind discussing it, both of you, that makes this not only city business, but perhaps even a little passion for you guys?
Yes. I'm Jewish.
Well, then you're right at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm Protestant.
Okay.
We actually went as a group of city council representatives, if you will, sister city commission representatives. And there was a group of 7 of us, and 2 were Jewish, 2 were Catholic, and 3 were Protestant, different levels of activity or being active in their faith or not, but so it's really interesting how we visited the different sites. But the first 3 to 4 days were really just business. It was dealing with the Mattias people. I mean, it was the regional council. It was like their mayor and their representatives, and they have a very vibrant economy, and we're trying to figure out how we can exchange ideas back and forth. And then the next few days, we actually did, I would call it a historic religious sites trip, where we visited Jewish historic sites and Christian historic sites.
Okay. Now, is Is Mate Asher officially a sister city for West Des Moines, or they're in the process?
Yes. No, we're official.
Okay, how long?
It's been about a little over a year.
Okay, and who chose who?
Actually, it's both chose each other. We were in contact with each other for a long period of time. We have a lot of interests that are similar. The biggest focus that we have is economic development. We also want to have educational exchanges as well as social exchanges, but economic development has been the key area that interests both West Des Moines and Mate Asher.
Who made the initial contact?
Actually, Mate Asher initially contacted West Des Moines.
Wow.
And we went through an extremely aggressive and long vetting process to determine that we did want to become a sister city with them, and it turned out to be an incredible partnership.
Now, a sister, let me tell you who this is in case you're just tuning in. Jim Sandegger is a West Des Moines city councilman and mayor pro tem, and Jeff Lippman is on the West Des Moines Sister City Commission. We're talking about a regional area. You compared it to a county, like a Polk County supervisors.
Yep.
It's a regional council, and the city is called Mate Asher. Did I say that right?
You got it.
In actuality, Mate Asher is the region. It's interesting because the cities that surround Mate Asher have their own municipal government. They have a city up north in the northwest called Nahariya. It's more of a resort community. Haifa, which is a port city and more of an industrial city, and they have cities that surround Mate Asher. Mate Asher is kind of a conglomerate of different housing subdivisions. They call them kibbutzes, which are both places where people live and work and have an interest in them. But Mate Asher itself is more of it's a regional, like a county government, where the cities have their own governments.
Okay. You may need to explain that a little bit later to me, because I'm trying to get this figured out. Frank?
What's a practical example of the sharing that goes on between the two cities? Give me a practical example of that how it's a benefit for both parties.
Well, again, we're kind of still, even though we've done this for a year, they've been the officials from Mate Asher have been to West Des Moines. They visited us. We've gone over and visited them. So that's kind of the first step, is going over, meeting each other, getting the lay of the land. What we're hoping to do is attract businesses from Israel to come to West Des Moines, and they would like to attract economic interests in Iowa, and also have them come over to Israel. So we're looking to have very aggressive economic exchanges between the two countries.
So there's interesting, I don't know, a lot of us Christians know about Israel of 2,000 years ago. I certainly was in that camp, but I didn't know about the Israel of today. So the Israel of today is a very advanced economy. They are the most entrepreneurial country per capita in the world. There's a book out, if you haven't read it, called Startup Nation.
Yeah.
They're very entrepreneurial. And a lot of their entrepreneurialism comes from the military. So they're required to join the military, males to serve 3 years right after high school, females to serve 3 years. So serves 3 years, females 2 years, males 3 years. And so just like students are vying for the top, here in the United States, they're vying for the top university to attend. What they do in Israel is they vie for the top military branches of government to be a part of. Because the military branches of government are really where you get your training and education. And their military is much differently structured than ours. Ours is a top-down hierarchical military. Theirs is much more give decision to the troops on the ground kind of a military.
Really?
So they're taught entrepreneurship actually right as a part of their military training, because they have so many unforeseen situations that come up. They just can't have somebody telling them from a centralized command post what to do. They have to make a decision instantly about what to do. So it's created this whole, I don't know if it's unintended consequence of being entrepreneurs.
How much of Israel's economy depends on tourism?
I'm not sure the percentage.
It's a pretty big percentage that is tourism. But a lot of it is now technology, very high technology businesses. And to kind of expand on what Jim said, after they're done with their military service, that's when they go to the universities and study. And their universities are set up different than our universities. I mean, they're very high-end universities. But, for instance, a big difference between our universities and theirs. In the United States, if we have an invention in one of our universities, the universities give it out to the world free, saying that it's in the public interest. In Israel, for instance, we visited the Technion, which is kind of the MIT of Israel. At the Technion, the universities actually create incubators for businesses. They take a share of the business, a financial interest, a percentage of the business. And when they find an application for a patent or some type of way to use the patent, and a company were to sell, let's say, to someplace in the United States or someplace around the world, when it's sold, the university actually gets a return on investment that business.
Do you think we should do that in America, Jeff?
I think it's a great model. I mean, it's a sustainable financial model for the universities. They're able to nurture the businesses, make sure they succeed. They have an interest in the success of the business even after these people graduate, because these businesses remain at the university and become in an incubator, and the universities really nurture those businesses. And a lot of those businesses are being sold in the United States for millions and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Good. Okay. All right. Good. Jim Sandager is one of my guests today. He's a West Des Moines city councilman and also the mayor pro tem. And Jeff Lippman, who is also with West Des Moines, and he is on the Sister City Commission. West Des Moines has developed a sister city in Jerusalem called Mattias. Mm-hmm. Did I do that okay?
That's correct.
Is that Hebrew?
That is.
That is. Okay. See? Wow. All right, we're coming back. Learn more. If you've got questions, you can call in 515-244-0077. It's live today in Mac's World. And thanks for listening.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi. My name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Hey everybody, I brought Northern Lights Pizza! And it's got Graziano sausage!
Rock and Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of health, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for the opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rock and Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobsen Foundation, and this station.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. 21 minutes after 3 o'clock, 3:21 on the 17th day of November in the Lord's year 2016. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Coming up next hour, Frank and Bob and Chris and Jebediah will be discussing human trafficking. Probably not the most joyous conversation, but if you saw the Des Moines Register today, they did quite an in-depth story, very well written too. And Des Moines is one of the, what a horrible list to make.
Yes.
One of the top 100 cities for human trafficking. Now, one of the things I want to make sure that our listeners know, that is not a reflection on anything that you and I do for our city or in our city. It is because we sit at the crossroads of America, 80 and 35. We have many, many, many advantages for our community, including West Des Moines and Johnson and Clive and all the communities within our metropolitan area. Because we sit at 80-35, the trucking industry is huge here. We have a lot of warehouses that are here. We have a lot of major tech industries that are here, financial businesses. But there's three things that we get because we sit at this intersection, and that's drugs, and that's gangs, and now, as the 21st century comes around, we can also count it as human trafficking. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of used to say, yeah, human trafficking, whatever, a bunch of liberal bleeding hearts just trying to get our attention with something. And then I met somebody who was a victim of human trafficking. Blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. The number of people that are impacted in this community, in our churches, by human trafficking. So, that's going to be the conversation next hour. Glad you're here. Hope you tune in. Hope you call in. Remember, you can always text us at the Service Legends Truth text line at 515-809-0993, brought to you in part by First Call Bail Bonds. They remind you to not text and drive. Frank, did you have something?
I was going to mention about 10 years ago, we had that story over in western Iowa where I think it was about, 6 immigrants were found dead in a train boxcar because of they were trapped in there by coyotes or whatever, and it was in the dead of the summer, and obviously they dehydrated and didn't have anything to drink and died.
Yeah, what a tragedy. I remember that. All right, my guests today are Jim Sandegger. He is a West Des Moines City Councilman and is on the Sister City Commission, as well as Jeff Lippman. He is on the West Des Moines Sister City Commission. And whether you knew it or not, West Des Moines has a sister city in Mattias. That's the name of it. Did I say that right?
That's right.
And something you just said that I think is interesting, you're sharing economic development and growth with each other. We've got businesses here in West Des Moines that you're introducing to this sister city in Jerusalem, as well as they're introducing tech and businesses and things like that to West Des Moines. Hopefully going to be not relocating, but being a part of each community.
Right.
Yeah, we don't know what that looks like yet. We're working on that, and they're working on that. We had a follow-up Skype meeting scheduled that's had to be delayed because of scheduling. But, yeah, so they have a real interest in this. The exports is an important part of their economy, and so they definitely have an interest in exporting either their ideas or their technology or their services or something. And everyone over there knows about Los Angeles and New York, and maybe they've heard of Chicago, but they don't think of Iowa. And what we have to help them understand...
We're the potato state, right?
That's right. We're the potato state, Idaho. What we have to help them understand, and I think the people, the leaders, the civic leaders in Mattias get this, is that we are really a more affordable place to do business. We're more accessible to leaders of industry here. And it's much easier, lower barriers to entry, much easier to enter into business relationships here.
And I think, as you said, one of the good things is we are on the I-80-35 corridor.
Yeah.
And that's very attractive to a lot of companies that are looking to locate within the United States. And again, we have an educated workforce. The cost of living is low, low crime, all relative to other cities.
Yeah.
And it's just a great environment to introduce somebody to business. as you know, a lot of businesses that go on the East Coast, on the West Coast, to Miami, they fail. And a lot of the reasons they fail is that it's not a great business climate for a startup business. They don't have a good workforce, and it's very expensive to do business there. And we have an advantage in Iowa. It's just a great community to live in. And I should also mention that it was really shocking to us. I mean, I always knew that Israel, by reputation, had smart people, good technology, but we were really blown away going into their business park. To give you an example, we went and toured a business. It's called MIS, Make It Simple. Okay. And what they do is they make dental implants. Their technology is so advanced that they can't even get the type of equipment in the United States that it takes to build the precision that they need to make these implants. And Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't have doctors that are even precise enough to do a lot of the surgery. So they're creating robots that will even do the surgeries to put these implants in. And I think they're also using 3D technology already in mass production to do these implants. It's quite amazing.
So do you see Jeff, maybe this industry, this business coming over to West Des Moines?
Well, this business right now it's going over to New Jersey. They just sold the majority interest in their company, I think, for more than $500 million to New Jersey. But businesses like that we see coming over to West Des Moines.
So I was going to just share another example of a story of a company that we visited, and that is a company that developed something because of security purposes. So you might be familiar with the concept of a kibbutz. So kibbutzes were pre-state of Israel. So Israel was formed in 1948. A kibbutz started to be formed after the turn of the century in the 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, and essentially they were a group of people that chose to live together in a community, or a commune even, you could say, setting, and where everything is very shared, everything is very community-oriented. And they would grow things together. A lot of times they're agriculture in nature. They would have dairy cows together. They would, most of them, as I said, were agricultural kibbutzes. And so a lot of these, because they're ag-based, had irrigation because it's an arid area. And this one particular company,
Vermeer.
Yep, because of their technology,
Vermeer from Pella?
I think it's Vermeer.
Oh, Vermeer. Okay.
Vermeer.
Yeah. Yeah, so they developed. So these kibbutzes would be enclosed at night for security purposes because there were Palestinians in the area, and it was this. This is what pre-state of Israel, and so they created shut-off valves, automatic shut-off valves for their irrigation system, so they didn't have to leave the kibbutz and the security of the kibbutz at night to manually hand crank and shut off their irrigation systems. And so they developed this automatic shut-off valve. And this automatic shutoff valve is very advanced technologically. And so they did this for security purposes, automatic shutoff valves, and now it has commercial application for fire departments, for commercial and for industry and for regular irrigation.
It sounds like something that Fischer Controls out of Marshalltown would make.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm
all
not
right,
sure.
Frank?
EPA is one of the big things that we struggle with here in the United States, business especially. Is the Israel EPA, is there an equivalent of an EPA in Israel? And is there hoops that companies that are trying to start a business in the other's backyard, is there hoops they find that they have to jump through?
Yeah. In terms of regulation, one of the things that encourages the entrepreneurship is that the lack of regulation that they have in Israel. But Israel as a country is very green. It's very environmentally friendly, and they take it very seriously as a culture. So at least at this time, I'm not sure there's as much of a need for the regulations for environmental purposes because they're doing it anyways. Right. It's part of their culture. But in terms of regulations, it's a very deregulated business climate.
So when they're starting businesses, that's baked in the cake, so to speak. They understand that if they bring something over here, they're probably going to have to do a tap dance with the EPA.
Yes, that's
here.
part of understanding doing business in the United States. What are the regulations we have versus what they don't have in Israel?
Well, hopefully, since we have a different president, those regulations may get lessened and things will be better exchanges between us.
Frank always likes to throw politics into every conversation. So, Frank, what are you doing on Friday? Oh, I don't know. I thought around and pick up Trump stickers and put them on people's mailboxes. My guests are Jim Sandagger. He is a West Des Moines city councilman and also on the Sister City Commission. And Jeff Lippman, who is on the Sister City Commission. As the city of West Des Moines has a sister city called Mattias.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's in the northern part of Jerusalem. And, of course, one of the reasons I was interested in having these guys in is that's where I'm going for Christmas.
That's pretty cool. When are you going there?
We're going to leave on the 18th or 19th. Bob's going with me.
Bob, cool.
And I think you probably know who Dick and Betty Odegaard are.
Okay.
They were the ones that had the Gortz house in Grimes.
Yeah, I know
They're
who they
coming.
are.
And then Craig Ellingson, whose son was tragically killed in the Ozarks.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, they just... City of or the Missouri State Patrol was ordered to pay that family $9 million today for that. Yeah.
Tragic.
So anyway, the five of us are going. If you want to go with us, feel free.
That sounds like a great thing to me.
And here's how this happened. So there's a guy, Pastor Stephen Corey, spelled
Khoury.
Right. He was coming here with the family leader to speak at some event, and so I was having him on the air. And he's an Arab-born man, United States educated, and he plants Christian churches all over Jerusalem. And we were on the air talking about what he did, and he said, Mac, have you ever been to Jerusalem? And I said, no, I have two problems. I don't like sleeping in other people's beds, and two, I don't like to stay in front of the red ropes. If I'm going to get to tour something, I want to go where I want to go. I don't want to go where you can't cross that line, sir. You have to stay over there. And out of the middle of nowhere, Pastor Corey says, well, why don't you come stay with my family? Just come on over for a few days.
And he lives in Jerusalem.
He lives in Jerusalem.
Wow.
He lives in Bethlehem.
Oh, wow. Well, of course, because he's Arab.
And I said,
Right.
I said, well, gosh, could I come for Christmas and broadcast live? Because that's kind of a bucket list thing for me as a Jesus freak to broadcast live from Bethlehem.
Yeah.
And he said, sure. He actually has a studio in one of the churches that he planted. So God just does all these cool things.
That's really cool.
And so we're going.
Wow.
In fact, I got to think here. Well, never mind.
Well, good. So you'll be there for a week or 10 days?
We're going to go on the 18th. You don't know?
I'm not.
Bob's chilling over there. He's
not
like,
sure of
whatever,
the date exactly.
Yeah, I think we leave Sunday the 18th or Monday the 19th. We fly and spend a 6-hour layover in all places Newark.
Yeah, we've been to that rodeo.
Have you?
That's like the place to go.
that.
Newark is like the in and out point for the nonstop to Tel Aviv.
Yeah, and then it's nonstop to Tel Aviv. So what do you do on that? What is that? An 8-hour flight?
Oh, it's like a 10-hour flight.
I think it was 11.
Load up your iPhone and plug your earbuds in, and pull back and put your sleeper things over your eyes. And that's it.
It's 11 there, and it's about 12 back.
Well, I hope I get a seatmate who likes to talk, because I'm not a.
We'll get Bob.
I'm not.
Can't you choose to be next to Bob?
Like I said, I think I'll get a seatmate that likes to talk.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to set you up there, Bob.
That's all right. Bob's one of those people who can exalt the Father without wasting a word. So Frank, on the other hand, he's just like a box of ping pong balls when it comes to.
See, I would talk his leg off, and that would be the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, the reason that Frank is not coming on the show, or is not coming to Israel
to be on the show, yeah.
I told him that I needed somebody really good to be back here to anchor the show while I'm gone.
Oh, there you go.
Truth is, I don't want him there with me. He'll talk my ear off. All right, when we come back, I want to talk a little theology. Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Lippman?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I love Jewish people. I think probably I'm a little Jewish, but we'll talk about that when we come back, live here in Mac's World.
Northern Lights Pizza's amazing garlic butter makes amazing breadsticks. Now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza. I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money-back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. 3:38, 22 minutes for the top of the hour. 17th day of November in the Lord's year 2016. We're gonna wrap this up here in just about 5 or 6 minutes because these guys need to take off. But I can't let a good Protestant and a good Jew go without talking a little bit of theology. Now, so tell me who Jesus is, Jeff.
Well, it's interesting, and when you go to Israel, you really learn a lot about the intersections historically about the two religions. I mean, Jesus was a Jew.
Right.
And when you look at the traditions in Christianity and what you learn in the Bible, where you actually see where things happen historically, I mean, it's an intersection of our religions. I mean, they depart after the theory of when he rose. But other than that, I mean, Jesus was a practicing Jew.
So you don't think Jesus rose from the dead?
That's where our religions depart.
Okay.
That's right.
Now, I just had a question. Gosh darn it. Okay, I'll have to think of it again. Oh man, I hate it when that happens. I'm getting old. So you've got the Old Testament, but not fully the Old Testament, right?
No, we have the entire Old Testament.
And that's the Torah.
That's the Torah.
Okay, and you don't study any of the New Testament.
That's correct.
I know what I was going to say. I've read many narratives and books that if Saul, were to come back today, he would be super mad that we've called this Christianity. That Paul would say, no, we're Jews. What are you doing? Christianity. Yeah. We're Jews that have found our Messiah.
Yeah.
Right.
So they'd be Messianic Jews.
Right.
Messiah Jews.
Right.
But
that makes complete sense to me.
How do you, actually. I mean, Jeff, how do you know? How come it's so clear to me and it's also so clear to you that we're on opposite ends? I don't get that. You'd think we'd both somehow meet. I mean, we kind of meet in the middle because we've got the Old Testament.
Well, I mean, you have two books. We have the one, but it's fascinating when you look at the Christian, traditions and the history, it's there, and you understand historically what had happened. There's a lot of Jewish customs.
Exactly. One of the highlights of being on the trip with Jeff and Mark Finkelstein, who was our other representative that was Jewish, was that we were able to kind of see the intersection of Christianity and Judaism. And I came back, I told my wife, I said, I felt like I went to Grandpa's land.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt more connection to Israel. I wasn't expecting to see that, feel that connection to Israel. And I wasn't, it was less about us and them, but more about I'm in Grandpa's land, and that's a good thing. And I learned a lot about how our connection is to Grandpa. If Jesus is my father, I mean, I'm not speaking theologically here now, but I mean, there is this historic that we go back to. We go back historically to Israel ourselves. We are much, I think, we as Christians are much a part of Israel as the Jews are. So I really appreciated learning things like the mikvah and how it relates to baptism and the rituals and how you just understand more of why Jesus had some challenges with what he did. There's a whole different part of Judaism that I didn't even know about existed.
One of the fascinating things that I learned just on this trip. I mean, we all know, John the Baptist, and what about baptism in holy water? That really is a derivative from the mikvah. There's a town that was established. It really pretty much, I wouldn't call them Reformed Jews, but more progressive Jews that didn't want to practice in the strict traditions in Jerusalem. They kind of went down the mountain toward the Dead Sea. That's where the Dead Sea Scrolls were actually written. Well, in this little town,
that's where they were found.
That's where they were found. That's where they were written and found. They were written in this community, and they put them up in the caves to protect them.
Right.
Well, what was really interesting in our when we toured it is this place had, in a town which maybe 300-400 people, had like 9 or 10 mikvahs,
right,
which is really the equivalent of holy water. And guess who was there in that town? Who do you think lived in that town?
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So
where the Dead Sea Scrolls were written. He was down there at the time that they were written.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of connection that we have with our New Testament back to the Old Testament, and we've kind of lost that with the 2,000 years.
Jeff, you mentioned the Reform and the progressive secular Jews. Would you consider yourself Orthodox, or where do you fall in that category?
Well, we belong to the Orthodox, the Conservative, and the Reformed synagogue, so we're the wandering Jews.
Okay. All right, so you go to all three here in town.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've become... friends is probably overstated, but I'd consider him a friend, and that is the rabbi that has the deli.
Rabbi Jacobsen.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great.
And he's come on this show, half a dozen times over the last... Well, he came on when I was on another Brand X years and years ago, so I really enjoy him.
Yep, he's a friend of mine as well.
Yeah, I go into the deli and I get all kinds of, conversation going, and his wife's over there going, come on, we got to get some work done over here. That was a bad impression of his wife, wasn't it?
We had him in here describing the butchering techniques of the Jewish people. And it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how they do that.
So what would have to happen, Jeff? I'm evangelizing now.
Okay.
What would have to happen for you to realize that Jesus is the Messiah?
if he rose once again when that time came, but
he will be back.
Well, probably there's nothing, because in our religion, the Messiah hasn't yet arrived. So who that Messiah is, what form he takes.
Maybe you were just sleeping for 33 years. I mean, maybe he really did arrive.
I haven't seen him yet.
Okay.
So it's interesting, speaking of evangelism, I don't know how many Christians or people who go by the label of Christians are in the world. 2 billion, something like that.
Half of them aren't.
Yeah, and I don't know how many are Muslim, maybe
1.6 billion
1.6 billion. Guess how many Jews there are in the world?
Not very many.
14 million.
Yeah, that's it.
Guess how many are in Israel?
Oh, 6.
7. Half of them. Guess where the remaining 7 are?
Des Moines.
6 are in the United States. Yeah. 1 million are spread throughout the rest of the world. So my point is that the Jews don't have the mandate of evangelism like we do. So their religion hasn't really grown. In fact, has shrunk. I mean, 14 million when you compare it to the billions of the other major religions. It's kind of phenomenal. So what I realized was the protection of Jews. I mean, it's very possible. I mean, and I think, what was the math, Jeff? That if the Holocaust had not occurred with the amount of deaths, if they had children, it'd be like another 20 million Jews or something like that.
35 million Jews.
35 million that,
additional to what we have
with generations that would have come from that, which would have been more than double or triple what they have now. It's kind of, it helps you understand the travesty of what happened with World War II.
Absolutely. Just I do get it, but I don't get it. So Jeff, what do you call? Where do you go when you die?
You go to heaven.
Okay, you go to heaven, and your entry into heaven, your salvation is given to you as a gift by how, or do you have to earn it?
Well, it's complicated in the Jewish religion. That's after someone dies for a certain amount of time. You basically say Kaddish. You say a prayer for a certain amount of time, and that time is dictated by the level that you rise into heaven.
Okay,
and depending on how you rise, you can get into a higher level of heaven.
Oh, you and the Mormons. The Mormons are just like that. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Mormons can earn based on actions and what they do inside their church. They can eventually actually become their own God and have their own planet and universe and the whole nine yards.
Well, we don't get our own God, and we don't get our own planet and universe, but there is a they call mitzvot, how the good deeds that you do in on earth will have an impact on how you rise in heaven.
So is there Jews that does not believe in the afterlife?
No, we believe that there'll be at some point in time that actually when the Messiah comes, that the physical and emotional body will actually come back.
But there are Jews, I think, Jeff, right, that are secular Jews and they don't believe in the afterlife, right?
There are, but there's even to get buried in a Jewish cemetery, you can't have a tattoo on you because that would be desecration, because when the body comes back, they want the whole of the body to come back.
Jeff Lippman and Jim Sandegger have been my guests. I want you guys to come back again sometime. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Mac.
Thank you, Mac.
Frank and Chris and Bob are coming up. Human trafficking right here live in Mac's World.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Rockton Prevention is celebrating 25 years of creating a caring community. We want to say thank you to the tens of thousands of Rock High School mentors that have carried our message of help, love, and encouragement to over 1.5 million children, teachers, and parents. Our mentors teach children methods and skills to prevent bullying and drug use. Thank you to all the school administrators, teachers, and counselors for their opportunity to serve you. Rock on, fair citizens. Rock on. This is Pat McManus for Rockton Prevention, the Richard O. Jacobsen Foundation, and this station.
Northern Lights Pizza, your home of the tasty crust. Our garlic butter sauce now available in 12-ounce bottles at Northern Lights, Hy-Vee, and Graziano's.
Northern Lights Pizza.
Hi, my name is David Vermeer, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcastonelive.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Good afternoon. 10 minutes before the top of the hour, the Salem Radio Network News will inform us on what's going on around the world. It's 3:50 in the afternoon. I'm Chris Roloff. Mac, just like that, snap of a finger, poof, and Mac was gone.
Bam! That just happened.
You know, have you ever noticed that Mac and I can't be in the same place at the same time?
You're the same person.
Could it be that we're the same person?
Clark Kent and Superman is the same dude.
That's right.
Wow.
What happens, see, is Mac puts on a fat suit and a button-down collared shirt, and he becomes me. I mean, I become, and then I take off the fat suit, and then my hair goes white.
I think Big Mama done a show like that, movie series like that.
Is that Big Mama? What's that guy's name? The guy,
the actor.
It's gonna drive me nuts.
That does that character?
Yeah, the Big Mama character.
Somebody help me out. Anyway, hey, welcome to Mac's World. We've got a few more minutes to wrap up this hour. In the next hour, we're going to kind of I've got 3 topics that we can talk about. Mac talked about the human trafficking issue. The reason why that is even why do I want to talk? I don't want to talk about it. I mean, seriously, who wants to talk about human trafficking? I don't. It's depressing. I wish it would go away. I wish it would stop happening. It's really sad. But the reason why that's even a topic of conversation today on Mac's World is all because of the Des Moines Register, I guess. The Des Moines Register noticed that, or they said, Des Moines has been identified as a top 100 human trafficking sites. That is not information that you want to. I don't have my phone in front of me, so I can't see. I don't have the phone screening thing. So, Jeb, who is this on the? Oh, we had a call.
We had a call. Chris actually informed me that Martin Lawrence is the name of the actor you were thinking of.
Martin Lawrence. That's not the one I was thinking. Is that the one you were thinking of?
Martin Lawrence, I believe.
Martin Lawrence.
Sorry.
I'm thinking of Medea. The Medea movies.
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. Thank you. That's who I was thinking of.
Well,
that's not Big Mama.
The Martin Lawrence movie character was the one where he's the detective and he dresses up as a woman and adds a bunch of weight to be Big Mama and then takes it on and off during the films.
Ah, gotcha. Well, that's
so that would more directly.
Medea is that way too. Right. Tyler Perry does those. And he is not quite that large, I don't think. You know, he has so many of those Medea movies. Am I saying her name right?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about,
yes.
Bob?
I kind of know what you're talking about, but I don't get into those movies.
You don't? My wife really likes them. More honestly, we don't watch enough. Not enough for her. But she just had a Halloween one. Or he did. I don't know. Cross-dresser guy. Anyway.
In my day, we called that cross-dressing.
All right, so I want to hear from you. We got a couple of minutes, and I want you to tell me what we're going to talk about next hour. How about that? Choose your own adventure radio program. I'm going to give you 3 things we can talk about. We can talk about the rise of human trafficking, kind of a news-focused show. Talk a little bit about prostitution. You know, believe it or not, there are people in this country who think prostitution's okay. State of Iowa, it's illegal.
Nevada.
You might think that prostitution's okay. Maybe you don't. We could talk about that. We could talk about human trafficking, what's going on right here in the Des Moines metro area. So that's number 1. So text us at 515-809-0993, or you can call Jeb and just weigh in your vote that way at 515-244-0077, or we can continue the conversation we were having yesterday a little bit about Christianity being more effective either as the mainstream cultural norm or as a countercultural movement. We can continue that conversation. Bob does not seem excited about that. If you could have seen, there's like an emoji with or there's GIFs you can send on your iPhone now with like these eye roll things. Like I wish that I could have just showed you the eye roll that Bob had. So Bob didn't like that topic so much. So we could talk about that if you want to. Send us a text, 515-809-0993. Ryan chimed in on that one. And then the other thing we could talk about is the Bible. Not in general, but we can talk about Paul's admonition in 1 Thessalonians for us to be imitators of Paul. Did you know that? Did you know Paul in 1 Thessalonians told the Thessalonican church, or the church in Thessalonica, to imitate him? And I was reading that this morning and felt kind of convicted, thinking, I don't think I could write that letter to a group of people. Dearest citizens of Des Moines, imitate me.
I like that.
You think I should?
I don't like about imitating you, but I'm saying talking about Paul. Yes, I like.
So that's a vote. So those are the three things you want to talk about: being imitators of Paul, 1 Thessalonians, Bible conversation. Do you want to talk about prostitution? Is it legal? Is it good? Is it bad? The human trafficking situation in the United States. You can talk about that with us. Send us a text.
So you're saying prostitution, is it good or is it bad? Is that the question?
So yeah, so I'm asking. See, Bob, that's the reason why this is a conversation. You're confused by me asking that question because you think everybody that's listening right now figures prostitution's bad.
But you realize that,
and I am shocked. I was shocked. I was doing research on this. When you talk about human trafficking, I was shocked to find out there are people in this country that think prostitution is just fine. And Christians need to shut their mouths and get out of it.
You realize the human trafficking and
I'm
the
not
prostitution
joking,
is kind of ties into each other.
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
So you're saying that Christians believe this?
No.
Oh,
human beings in America. Well, I don't know. We already have established we got two I can count on one hand the known non-Christians that listen, and that's the ones that I know about. So, I mean, I want to hear from people who think prostitution's okay. And what about pornography and how it really relates to prostitution and human trafficking and the sex slave culture that we have around the world and how it's coming to America? So we can talk about those things, or we can talk about Thessalonica, we can talk about Paul, the Bible, or we can do the thing you don't want to talk about, Bob. We can rehash the conversation from yesterday. So I got to hear from you. You got to vote. Send us a text. What do you want to talk about? 515-809-0993. Send us a text with a vote. Tell us what you want to talk about. Or you can call Jeb at 515-244-0077. That's right. I'm putting you to work. That's not because I'm lazy. It's because I got three things I can talk about and only have 1 hour to talk about them. So what of those things is most interesting to you? I want to know. I can't feel like telepathy. Like I can't. If I just listen, shout at your radio really loud. I couldn't hear it. I tried. So we're going to talk about one of those things. That music, every time that music comes on, like I need to be like, oh, hey, bro, you ever considered that maybe you too should do something important and meaningful? Like it doesn't always, like, if I'm not talking about something smooth like that, you know?
The smooth stylings of Chris
Have you
Roloff.
ever wondered what it would be like to host your own radio program? Well, let me tell you, for only $19.95, you too can have a book that I wrote.
But wait,
there's more. But wait, there's more. We're going to talk about something. Stick around and find out. It's going to be interesting. I promise. Because we're going to have fun. It's a Thursday here at 99.3 FM, The Truth, live and local.